Hi everybody, hope you're doing marvelously well. It is a Monday evening here in not so sunny Los Angeles. So we're going to try out some plugins from Sonible. It's called the Meters Bundle. It is True Balance and True Level. Now, True Balance, from what I've read, we're going to find out now, will analyze your mix and analyze other mixes, and you can see what the relationship is between different frequencies. Also, I could listen to mixes that I like, that I've done myself, and see whether there was something specific about them that's missing in other mixes. It seems like a great tool if you're really trying to discover something unique about something. Also, a great tool to learn, because it may be that you can't identify what is good or bad about something, and it's a way to sort of spark up your ears and find those things that might be different from one mix to another that seem to really make a huge difference. Well, without further ado, let's get stuck in. I've got the speakers going, not headphones today. I'm going to open up True Balance. Here it is. I haven't used it yet, so this is going to be interesting. Firstly, yes, it does resize. So I've got spectral reference item, acoustic, classical, country, electronic. So this is good. So as a tool, what it's doing is it's saying what's the genre you're playing through it. So if I went to like electronic or metal, that's going to be a lot denser, averagely a lot more denser than acoustic or classical maybe, although classical can be incredibly dynamic and very dense at times. So that's an interesting idea. Universal, speech high, speech low. Oh, that's going to be interesting. That might be a nice tool for you, Eric, to get the speech to sound good. Ouch! What? You can try it on the mix. So let's close it down for a second. Let's choose a song. Now, I've got this track here, which I did with Jonas Smith. If you haven't got the multi-tracks already, you can download them. They're fantastic. I did this live. It's John Button, who plays with The Who on bass, Blair Sinter, who's Melissa Etheridge's and used to be for years after Taylor, Alanis Morissette's drummer, who's amazing, and Jonah. And he's an incredible talent. I think he was in EOS. He came like fourth in America's Got Talent. He's playing piano and vocals, and this is a live recording. So let's have a quick listen. Not sure what I'd call that. Maybe it could be acoustic because it's piano, drums, and vocals. Classical, country, electronic, speech, pop, R&B. I'm going to analyze it as an acoustic and then analyze it as pop and see what that does for me.
I was sick. I felt that pain in my heart. I would lie.
It's interesting. It's given me all these different things to read here. So I can read the width here of the low end, the mids, and the highs. I'm actually happy that the low end isn't that wide. That's a good sign. There's certain piano chords that have more width to them because it's a low note. And the way I've got it panned is the left hand is over on the left side, so there's more low end on the left side when the piano plays. So listen to the mids. So it's interesting. Lots of detail in the mids, but the highs are more centered, which is quite interesting indeed. It almost makes me want to sort of put some extra sparkle on those overheads, or particularly the piano. So before we listen to any reference tracks, there's some adjustment here that I've just been discovering. So you've got speed here, how quickly it reads the information, and then the resolution here, how you view it. So I'll keep it on fast. Smooth is interesting, but I realize if I go to increase the detail and go to detailed, I like that a lot.
I was sick. I felt that
If I go to slow, you see it's kind of pausing it and it's only changing when there's something dramatic. Mid,
I would lie
but I like the fast.
in bed at night and dream,
That really helps me.
tearing me apart.
If this is a suggested curve here, it's giving us all of these things here. So I like this mix, by the way, but let's do what it says. So obviously we're taking 2 tracks here. So I'm going to bring out an EQ. So it's pretty much from like,
I was sick. I felt that pain in my heart.
pretty dramatic from like
I would lie
380,
in bed at night and dream,
450 down.
tearing me apart. I never thought that I would be caught by love so helplessly again. Now I can't see a reason why for routine under falling skies again.
So it's still a little bit high there.
I never thought that I would be caught by love so helplessly again. And I can't see a reason why for routine under falling
Still a bit of low mid in there according to this. 268.
That I would be caught by love so helplessly again. I can't see a reason why for routine on the falling skies again. Oh.
Interesting. I'm going over here to listen.
I was sick. I felt that pain in my heart. I would lie in bed at night and dream of you tearing me apart. I never thought that I would be caught by love so helplessly again. And I can't see a reason why for routine under falling skies again. I never thought that I would be caught by love so helplessly again. And I can't see a reason why for routine under falling skies again.
Now, this is recording at Sunset Sound through lots of tube mics, lots and lots of, beautiful, expensive transformers, loads of low end. So it's achieving the pop curve here. If I go to the acoustic, it's quite a difference. So the acoustic's allowing a lot more lows in there. Go back to the pop. So I've kind of got I'm close to the target. It looks like I've got a little bit more mid-range in there. So I suppose if we want to go to between 750 and 1.7, we could just get another. Now, bear in mind, I would never do this on my master bus. I would do this inside of my mix. We're just going to see, how quickly we can get there. What has been interesting is by cutting those low mids and those lows, the kick's still coming through massive. Which is quite funny. It's still like, oh, I'm still hearing that kick. You'd think the low end of the kick would disappear. You can tell just how thick I had that. Again, I would not be doing this on the master, but it does seem like if you want a mastering tool and you're training your ears, this might be good for that. I'm going over here to listen again.
I was sick. felt that pain in my heart.
Now I'm going to turn the EQ off and have a listen.
I was sick. I felt that pain in my heart. I would lie in bed at night and dream of you tearing me apart.
It sounds like I can boost the high highs a bit more, believe it or not. Isn't that crazy? So let's go in here. Boost some of this area up. And bearing in mind, this is the pop, not the acoustic one. So the high highs. Let's cut some more low lows. Crazy.
I was sick. I felt that pain in my heart. I would lie in bed at night and dream of you tearing me apart.
So it's pretty close to the target now. Take it off.
I was sick. I felt that pain in my heart.
Like I said, recorded straight at Sunset Sound, straight off the desk, no EQ, no compression, straight to tape. Well, straight to Pro Tools. Pretty remarkable. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a phrase song that I recorded, which is similar but was mixed by the rather amazing Mr. Mark Endert. So what's interesting, the reference track isn't as bright, so isn't as pop. Let's go to acoustic. So for the acoustic here, it's saying balance check says level of low lows looks good, level of mids looks good, level of high highs look good. Now if I get, so I click on the reference track here, see what the balance check says. Level looks good. It says, so it's saying it all looks good because it's all basically there. This track of the phrase was mixed by the great Mark Ender. So let's have some fun with this. Again, I wouldn't be doing this on a mastering level like this. I'd be doing it within the mix. I'd be pushing up things to do it. But it's a really good tool to find out. So let's go to our mids and bring them back up and bring up some of this stuff at like the 100-ish area. So I'm going to bring that back up. I'm going to bring up this 297. Now let's see what it does.
I was sick. I felt that pain in my heart. I would lie in bed at night and dream of you tearing me apart. I never thought that I was sick. I felt that pain in my heart. I would lie in bed at night and dream of you tearing me apart. I never thought that I was sick.
So it looks like you can use the combined effects. So if I bring in another one, so far we've brought in Vienna. Let's bring in Look After You as well, which is another fantastic song. So it's analyzing it. Okay, so, oh wow. So let's Look After You. Here's Vienna. They're similar-ish. There's some low mids difference. There's a little bit more mid-rangey stuff going on, but the low end's quite simple. Interesting. Both of them have piano, bass, and drums, but have different amounts of electric guitars in there.
I was sick. I felt that pain in my heart. I would lie in bed at night and dream of you tearing me apart. I never thought that
Bypass the EQ.
I was sick. I felt that pain in my heart.
So there's a little bit too much mid-range information. Let's bring that down. Area here.
I was sick. I felt that pain in my heart. I would lie in bed at night and dream of you tearing me apart. I never thought that
Still a bit too much low lows going on there. Let's take some of that out. I'm just going to do it blindly here. This seems like it's going to be a really interesting tool during your mix process, and it might be an interesting tool for those of you that are learning how to master. And you can load in songs that you love and think to yourself, especially if they're in the genre, like if you had a really heavy metal song, you know, how would you do that? So what I have now is a remix done by our very good friend, Mr. Matt Lang, and it's of one of Chloe's songs. Let's check it out. So let's get rid of these reference tracks because they're completely and utterly useless for this, because we don't need it, because it's not big organic. It's absolutely slimy. I'm not even going to go to pop. Let's see what happens if we go to electronic. I'm not surprised. Matt is ridiculously talented, and it's reading fairly accurate. It's just the low end, according to this, is like a little bit too huge. For a lot of dance music, that's the style. It feels really just like a mastering job, just taming those low lows. I like it as much before as I do after. After sounds very controlled, very radio. The low end's still there. But when I take it off, there's a whoa, 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 which does sound like it's going to be amazing in a club through a massive PA. So it's interesting. I feel like what they've done here is they've designed something that's probably going to be like the best. Works on this, works on those, works on the speakers there, works in every single environment. I know these guys and girls are not stupid. They're very, very smart. So they've analyzed every single source they can to come up with something that's consistent. But I will say with the dance music thing and that, I like that extra low end. The thing about these Jones Scanlon speakers is they have a huge amount of low end. And it was quite satisfying listening to that there. But the way around it is to find a track you like, which might be Matt's track, and you load it in and you use his track when you're mixing because you like that little extra low lows. That is the beauty of being able to select reference tracks. So when the vocal comes in, moves between the widths of the lows looks good and them being too wide. Because what's happening is the vocal's coming in and obviously doing some sidechain compression. Interesting. See, I'm learning all about this mix. So I bet you he's got a mix and he's got a vocal and he's got all of the instruments coming to a 2-bus and then the vocal then being carved out when it sings. I guarantee that's what's happening. And then he probably has a stereo bus on top of that. A lot of people do that so that it allows the vocal to always be present and sit in the mix. Very interesting. So what a great tool for finding out tons of different schnizzle. You can load in different reference tracks. You can use their settings to see, whether it generically does the right thing. I do think their electronic setting is good. It's just for a club track, I would always reference a slamming club track. If you went to a club and you heard like that excessive low end and you loved it, go and get that mix, drop it in there, make sure you mix to that. You are mixing for certain tastes. I believe what they've done here is find the average. They've gone between, like I said, once again, between phones and boom boxes and laptops and full-blown great systems and everything in between. You can win one of 3 copies of this bundle. So enter down below to win one of 3 copies of the bundle.
Hello everyone, my name is Paul Third and I'm going to try and talk about this plugin and discuss something that nobody else hopefully has. Now, a very, 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 very important thing to remember when you're using plugins like True Balance, and there are, I'm not going to say the name, but you'll see that there. There are other plugins very similar to True Balance, and they all kind of have slightly different algorithms, but as much as they have slightly different algorithms, these, right, are masters. They're not mixes. So what we've got to remember is that when we're comparing our mix in, say, True Balance to, say, any of these kind of genre-specific algorithms, we are comparing a mix versus a limited master. Maybe something that's like at -8, -7, -9 LUFS. So you've got to remember that there is a massive difference in regards to tonal balance when you have a mix at say minus 6 dB full scale, right, giving the mastering engineer some headroom compared to the mastering engineer's final result, which has been heavily limited to get the record to minus 8, minus 7 LUFS or whatever it's going to be. So what I want to do is I want to show you, by using the plugin, right, by using the reference feature of it, which is great, just why it's so important to ensure that when you are kind of comparing like your reference tracks that you upload into this plugin, that you're doing it with a limiter on. So what I did was I printed, as you can see, this track here, right? This track here, I printed this with heavy limiting, and that was the limiting I applied. But what I did was I had the gain to like 5 dB, hit it, and it was hitting about minus 9.5 LUFS. Okay, so it was hitting it pretty hard. So I printed it, and then I uploaded it into the reference section. As you can see, there is Spike Stent's Zone Mix. That was one of my main references. The Take My Lonely Mark Daniel Nelson final mix, as this was the mix that I was working on, and this was the limited version here. Now, what's great about True Balance is that you can have, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What's that? 8 reference tracks, and you just click on them to apply them. So what we're going to do is we're going to compare my mix without any limiting to the mix with limiting, sitting about like minus 9.5 LUFS. Let's do it. Right, okay, so if we slow the speed of this to slow, right, what you can see here, and I'll see if I can zoom it in, is that my mix is in the green and the limited mix is in the purple. So as you can see there, look at the deviations in the low mids. Look at those deviations. Look at the deviations up here. And again, look at the deviations in the highs. So the limited mix has a little bit more top end. Again, look at the difference in the mid-range there. Those low mid area there and that high mid area here, and also a little bit of difference in the low end as well. So if I add in the two other reference mixes, right, it fell quite close. It actually fell better into the targets. So it is very important to kind of do a pre-master or a fake master, just to ensure that when you're trying to kind of achieve these targets, you're doing it in the most logical fashion, which is comparing a heavy limited track to another heavy limited track. So it's very, very important to have the conversations with your mastering engineer so you know kind of roughly what he's going to probably master it to. Or if you're doing it yourself, in your head, you know, right, this is kind of roughly where I'm going to kind of have the overall level sitting when I go to master it. Hopefully that has been a handy little tip for you when using this True Balance plugin. My name is Paul Third, and I'll see you again whenever I see you.
So as well as True Balance, the lovely people at Sonible have True Level, and that comes in the bundle. So let's check it out. Let's check it out. Okay, so we're playing Matt's like slamming track. I'm going to take the EQ off that we had on earlier.
How could we be so blind, thinking it just
Loudness looks good, dynamics look good, peak level seems too high. No kidding. Yeah, it's slammed. Reduce the level by 2.9 dB. So that's the peak level. Going on this. So you've got, so Spotify minus 14 LUF, Universal 11.9 dB, loudness. So this is quite interesting. So it says it needs more dynamics. Again, no kidding. It says the loudness looks good, but the peak level seems too high. So grab a limiter. Wow, it slammed. That's kind of dynamics. Resetting it. So peak level looks good, dynamics look good, loudness looks good. Reduce level by 0.5. Okay, let's bring them down a bit more. Reset it. So it's come down dramatically for the sort of Spotify. Again, reference tracks can be loaded in and we can see. So what would be good is you go to Spotify, you listen to something you like that feels like it's translating on your earbuds, on your headphones, through your speakers, through your phone, through anything off of Spotify. Then load that reference track in here and find out what's going on. What's interesting about LUFS, or LUFS as some people call them, is it's a very good way of measuring actually how loud a track is, because it's taking the average information. People get very carried away by peaks and stuff like that. And yes, if you've got transients that are like super loud and peaking all over the place, it can be pretty horrific, but it doesn't mean that your track is that loud. It just means that elements of the track. What you really want to be looking at is like that kind of area. So if you've got these peaks here, which is like the general volume of it, I'm speaking really simply because honestly, it makes perfect sense. So for instance, if I go, I'm going to speak really simply about this. If I go to, what's one of my most dynamic tracks? Well, I suppose it's back to the Jonas Smith one we listened to earlier. Have a listen to this. So we'll reset it. You got drum dynamics. You got piano dynamics.
I was sick.
Just the hits of those pianos. Barely any compression on the drums, barely any, if at all, compression on the piano. So it says loudness seems too low, dynamics seem too high. So, see what it's telling us there? So if we now put some compression on it, smart comp.
Sick. I felt that pain in my heart. I would lie in bed at night and dream of you tearing me apart. I was sick. I felt that pain in my heart. Sick. I felt that pain in my heart.
Now the vocal's sitting so far out front that it's actually like crushing when the vocal sings, and it compresses, is actually like compressing the rest of the band really heavily. So this is a mix thing, but instantly you can see what it's telling you to do. It's telling you to like get in there and compress that piano just a bit more. Compress those drums a little bit more, reduce the dynamic range somewhat. You don't have to bring it into the perfect pop realm because that might not be what this song is about. It's supposed to be a live performance off the floor. But it's a great idea to just see what could I do more, especially if you're learning. You're learning and you're taking like this mix that you've done live off the floor, this rough, and going, well, how can I improve it? What do I need to do? And it's telling you, just bring in some more loudness, bring in a little bit more compression, maybe some parallel compression on the drums. So there's a bit more energy there and just a bit, energy going on, energy in the piano. just so it feels a little bit more forward, a little fuller sounding. And then maybe wipe off a couple of those transients which are just poking their head out a little bit too much. Doesn't mean it has to be smashed, doesn't mean you need to be doing this all on your master bus. It's just a lovely tool to get in there and figure some things out so you can improve your mixing. And probably just as importantly is the fact that it's giving you the ideal place for Spotify, because Spotify, if you're too peaky and too loud, all it will do is just turn it down. And there's nothing worse than a big crushed loud track being squashed even more and turned down. It'll just end up sounding weeny and tiny. And your big chugging guitars or dance music track will be like just tiny sounding. So great tool. Don't forget, you can enter to win one of 3 copies of the bundle down below. Thanks everybody for checking this out. So long, farewell, la vida, and au revoir. Adios.